I get it. We haven't been working together that long, so you don't know me that well. 'Cause that was boring as hell. That was whack. That was anticlimactic. That was not what you want to send everyone into the offseason with in terms of taste of NFL great product. I tell you this as a former defender, please never put me outside the scope of being a defender and watching a defensive struggle. It's boring to the eyes. 8 straight possessions with a punt. There's no more of a boring play in football than the punt formation. Like, just seeing punt team, everybody like, oh, all right. I mean, half the time you see people's like, all right, bathroom break. Like, punt formation, nothing usually happens off of punt formation but change of field position. This game, I was expecting a lot. I understand, and I told you this on Friday. We're not going to rewind the tape to show you that. I told you McVay, as great as he is going to lose to his Miyagi. Daniel's son take a swing too early thinking you learned all the moves. No, you didn't, because the old guard is still in charge in terms of Belichick and defense wins championships. I was bored. I'm not going to lie. I forced myself to stay in it because the Rams were still in it. It was 3-0 at half. It's 3-3. It's 10-3, all one-possession games. But then I kept sitting there saying, this team is just inept. And
Belichick did that. The Patriots defense did that.
Right. So there's a standard. Great football is when both teams are excelling and still there's one that prevails. Still good football is when one team is dominating the other team, but the other team is still showing you effort and achievement. What we saw there kind of was short in both. Not only effort, but in achievement. They were not able to show you any glimpse of the L.A. Rams of this entire season. Because of that, it just took something away from me. I just wasn't entertained.
I completely disagree, because I was, maybe it's not entertained, may not be the right word. Fascinated was the right word for me. I was fascinated by the way you shut down this Rams offense. I was fascinated by the fact that the Rams offense absolutely did not unleash Todd Gurley. You know, one of the things that's amazing to me, having done 3 Rams games over the course of the season and talking to Sean McVay, he used the term, we like to give you the illusion of complexity, but we're pretty simple. We motion a lot of guys. We move formations. We go from, tight end to the right to the left formation, strong right, strong left, jet sweep stuff, ghost motion stuff. But at our core, we want to bludgeon you in the running game. We're a wide zone, cutback running team. That's what we do. The Rams were what, 15-0 when they handed the ball to their running backs 20-plus times, and 0-4 when they didn't on the season? And you mean to tell me that Todd Gurley gets 10 touches, 10 carries, and C.J. Anderson gets 7 in a 3-3 ball game in the fourth quarter? Like, I'm fascinated what you possibly could be thinking. And who's that coach that's dog cussing your head coach on the sideline going, what the hell are we doing? This is not who we are. Who's your get after the head coach when the head coach has lost his mind coach? You got to have, every team has one of those guys. In Denver, for me, it was Alex Gibbs, who, I had to pull him off of Mike Shanahan a couple times when he wasn't calling up runs like he wants to fight him. Like, who's that guy? I was fascinated by the game plan. I was fascinated by the execution of the game plan. And I was thoroughly, I guess for lack of a better term, I was thoroughly entertained.
Well, I was not entertained at all. I was involved in in tune with what took place because I'm a football player. I'm a football junkie. I know the game so I can watch it from a different lens. But I look at things from a fan's perspective, the novice fan or a fan who just watches football versus a football fan. A football fan, yeah, they're going to stay tuned. They're going to stay involved. But someone who just watches football because it's Super Bowl Sunday, they're not entertained because they want to see touchdowns. They want to see antics. They want to see that climactic.
Greg. Don't speak for all those people.
I'm
speak for yourself.
I am speaking for myself.
You're speaking for me right now. Keep talking.
I'm speaking for myself as well.
So as a fan, you were not.
No,
that's great competition. It was the greatest competition.
It was good competition. I don't think it was great competition because we didn't see both teams at their absolute best offensively.
What if somebody's preventing you from being at your best? Wade Phillips and Bill Belichick put on a master's class in defense. Jason, that's what that was.
Jason, look, you're talking to an offensive guy. And there is no way I feel like I can be at my absolute best, or we as an offense can be at our absolute best, and you eliminate everything we have to offer. You can take me away, but to take Gurley away, to take Robert Woods away, to take C.J. Anderson away, to eliminate Jared Goff, to even really minimize what Sean McVay has done all year, like, I wasn't entertained by that. I wanted to see them do more, and I didn't get it.
Yeah, you know, I think that's just the wrong word because, like you're saying, it's the Floyd Mayweather argument of he gets in the phone booth with another fighter who's a professional at their best, but then he will just undermine everything that you do and take it away from you. Pacquiao, who would throw 200 punches around, gets in the fight with Floyd, and all of a sudden he only throws 20. And you're like, that's amazing. That's genius. But that's not entertaining because look, you could be genius and still not entertaining. You can watch somebody do a physics test. It's genius. It's great. It's not entertaining. What we saw was a team that we thought was going to be able to keep pace for pace and get to the finish line and give us a photo finish and see what happens. And then you took that away, and now we're scratching our head instead of saying we were so thoroughly entertained. Why did that occur?
I guess, to me, Bill Belichick, other than an athlete, is the most compelling person in sports to me. His genius and what he's been able to accomplish over the last 20 years, other than an athlete, is the guy in sports.
The X Factor.
I'm with you there.
And so we just saw him put on his greatest performance.
Agreed.
He took down a Los Angeles Rams team that had an offense that was a juggernaut. Somebody wrote some stupid piece a couple of weeks ago. The Rams have the greatest run-blocking offensive line in NFL history. And Bill's like, really? And so that, to me, was fascinating to see a genius at work when no one thought this is supposed to be the weak, vulnerable Patriots team, and they just put a clown suit on a kid that the whole league has celebrated like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I think one of the other things that really interests me about this is we talk about the defense and what they were able to accomplish against a really good offensive line and a really good offense and basically shut them down through the entirety of the game. The other thing that amazes me is, we hear the cliche defense wins championships, complete teams. I mean, there was a time when Allen, the punter for New England, was probably the MVP candidate. Here you have a team defensively, think about this, that shut down the Rams to 3 points, and nobody could figure out, should there be a defensive MVP? Should the MVP be on the defensive side? We can't even find the guy. So by default, because Edelman was great in that game, there's no question, but you give up 3 points to a juggernaut offense, and you can't find a defensive MVP to win Super Bowl.
Gilmore should have been that guy.
But here's what's amazing to me. You're playing against, and this is what blows me away about Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. We talk about that offense. There's 7 first-rounders on that defense. Both corners are first-rounders. All 4 starting defensive linemen, first-rounders.
Talking about the Rams.
The Rams.
Yep.
And you got into 1970s football. Fullback, tailback, 2 tight ends, pro formation. You're like, listen, man, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play old school, grinding out football. We're going to try to make our plays underneath to Edelman. That's what we're going to do. We're going to motion him in, get him a free release and a stack formation, make sure we run option routes. We're on the same page. That's going to be our guy right there. And you know what we're not going to let you do? We're not going to let you do what the Denver Broncos and Wade Phillips did to us in 2015, where they hit Tom Brady 24 times. I don't care if it's a 10-3 ball game, if it's a 3-3, if it's a 6-3 ball game. That's how we're going to win this game. And they went in there, they sold it to their players. Their players bought into it like they always did. And you know what? They're 6-time world champions. Good for them, man.
Hey.
That's awesome.
And look, Wade Phillips and Belichick, I mean, that was a chess match.
It was.
Wade Phillips went out there and said, y'all not beating us with your running game. You're not beating us with your screen game. I mean, the defensive ends were peeling on the screen game. I was like, oh, this is smart. And he said, you're not going to beat us with Gronk, like your deepest threat. But we got to give up something. You got to pick a poison. Edelman, do what you do. Edelman didn't score a touchdown again. He just kept the chains moving as Edelman does. But that was the way that they said, beat us. They dared Tom Brady and Edelman to beat him. Tom Brady, by his standards, mediocre game. Edelman had an amazing game, but still didn't change the points in the game. What really was the difference maker was those moments where the Rams hung around and they were still in the game in the second half, and they didn't take advantage of those couple moments. You talked about it earlier. When you say, hey, there's a wide open Brandon Cooks for 6 seconds in the end zone, you got to hit him. Or when Brandon Cooks drops the ball or gets defended on. Those were the couple of moments that could have swung this game.
And again, I found it fascinating. Early on, one of my first comments watching the game live was like, oh, they got Jared Goff. He's got a little bit of happy feet. He looks confused. They've obviously confused him with coverages. These aren't the defenses he was expecting. Again, I just go back to Bill Belichick at 66, 20 years in, to me, has his greatest performance. It's the performance that I will never forget that will define him. Here's Sean McVay and this high-flying offense. He's supposed to be what's next. Everybody's hiring a coach that looks just like him. And the 66-year-old man put a clown suit on him.
He did, but he didn't do anything special, but he did what was going to be effective. And what I mean by that, the same way they attacked the Kansas City Chiefs, it was very similar with what they did this game against Jared Goff, but the difference is Patrick Mahomes can extend plays. He's an off-script player at the quarterback position. Jared Goff, he thrives in the pocket. He has to step up and make those throws. That's where he's most effective. You flush him. We saw Jared Goff flustered. He didn't know where to go. He was feeling things that sometimes wasn't even there because the pressure was getting to him. In a young quarterback, if you can get to him like that early mentally, now on first and second down, third down, I'm thinking, shoot, if they get to me on first and second down, I know somebody's going to possibly be here on third down, so I got to hurry. And your time clock is sped up already, and that's what was beating the Los Angeles Rams all day because of Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I mean, look, a synopsis about, we're talking about Jared Goff. We're talking about what happened to the Rams offense, Sean McVay. One, what we just witnessed was a maturation process. We just witnessed growing pains. The Jordan years against Detroit, like you can see it's coming, but it's just not there yet. But it's coming. The Rams are coming. Sean McVay is still coming. But let's just be real about Jared Goff and let's be real about Todd Gurley. They have shown us enough flashes of brilliance and flashes of inept play. Like of late for Todd Gurley and his second year, even if you dive into the numbers of his first year, 4 of his first 6 games, 100-plus yards. Then it started to tail off, but he already had made a splash. Second year, we know that was bad under Jeff Fisher in L.A. Then he rebounded with the new coaching staff. Same thing with a quarterback in Jared Goff. First 7 games, oh, my God, you're horrible. Like, these players right now are still in a conversation of how great are you, because we know that they're brilliant, MVP considerations. But there have been enough flashes of this team, Chicago Bears game this year. Was that entertaining? I mean, the Bears went out there and smoked them, and we were like, where are the Rams and where's the offense? We all know missing Cooper Kupp has really handcuffed this offense. But that said, I won't go entertaining. I will go part of the building blocks of really understanding what greatness is, and Belichick still has a stranglehold on what that is.